Hello everyone, welcome to Narayana IAS Academy. My name is Shubham Sagar, and in today's news of the day, we'll talk about Kolkata rape murder tragedy, we'll talk about Vishaka Guidelines, we'll talk about BNS, that is Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, and what is the relationship between these three, not entirely different but not exactly same things, and how they are interconnected to each other. So we'll try to understand this. And so, what are the keywords here? Kolkata rape murder tragedy, Vishaka judgment, Vishaka guidelines. We'll try to understand the BNS Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, because more or less when BNS Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita was introduced to, and it replaced rather IPC 1860. So the keyword there was gender justice. So whether gender justice are being fulfilled or is being fulfilled or not, we have to talk about all these things in detail. So patriarchy is also at the core of this particular article. How patriarchal setup is contributing to gender violence and how it is contributing to subordination of women. All these things we have to talk about, or we'll understand via this article. So what is the context? Horrific rape and murder of a resident doctor at RG Kar Medical College. So there were lots of talks going on. If a person is not safe at workplace, where are we safe? And all these things, this is actually a very big tragedy. Many people are comparing it to Nirbhaya 2.0 based on the severity of this tragedy. It has the particular case has been transferred to CBI. Fine. Now, this author, he's talking about that these kind of things will keep on happening because there is political, legal, and social order where there is, which promotes or which permeates a high threshold of sexual violence. Why? Because when you see the political structure, when you see the social structure, legal structure, the percentage of women who are employed in these structure, who are working in these structure, who are part of these structure is a very minuscule proportion. When we talk about women reservation bill, constitutional amendments, how are they implemented? So there is a subordination at each level, be it political level, legal level, social level. And when we are talking subordination, we are talking about subordination of women, which in turn promotes sexual violence. So, Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, the major aim of this Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita was to promote gender justice, and that's why, and to prevent, to act as a deterrent against sexual crimes. It also introduced death penalty for these sexual crimes. But has the crimes reduced? The answer is no. What more we should do? That is what this article is talking about. Let's talk about BNS, Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita. Then we'll talk about Vishaka Guidelines. What more needs to be done? Many people are equating this Kolkata rape murder tragedy to Nirbhaya 2.0. If we don't want Nirbhaya 3.0 to happen, what more needs to be done? So, Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, official criminal code which replaced IPC, Indian Penal Code of 1860, because many people believe that this IPC represented colonial era legacy, and it was like passed in December 2023, came into effect on 1st July 2024. Both are not same, please understand this. And one of the justification for introducing BNS is enhancement of gender justice. So what has happened is restructuring the code. This penal code was restructured, and crime against women like rape and sexual assault were moved to the forefront of the penal code. And this is one of the criticism of BNS as well. Just because you have placed them in the front pages does not mean crime against women will vanish all of a sudden. More needs to be done at the ground level. Just restructuring, reordering the penal code will not solve the issue, related to crime against women. So critics argue that merely renumbering the sections of penal code or placing certain crimes at the beginning does not lead to real change. More has to be done in terms of creating a culture of deterrence or ensuring justice for victims. Like we were having this discussion, if a woman is not safe at her workplace, where is she safe? And then the colleague of mine, she told me that these kind of things, these similar kind of things are happening at a girl's home as well. And she was not entirely wrong, because if you look at different data, most of the sexual assault involving children that has happened, and the various data which says that more than 95% of the sexual assault involving children are done by their relatives. So a lot more needs to be done at the ground level. We need to teach children about good touch and bad touch, and this sexual assaults are not only confined to children, even at the higher level relatives are involved to a greater extent. So lots of things need to be done. Good touch, bad touch, you cannot trust anybody blindly. All these things, societal level changes, ethics has to be introduced. All these things has to be done. Mainly, or merely rather, restructuring the sections of penal code will not solve the issue. There are concerns that these kind of changes are more cosmetic than substantive. So again, let's talk more about this article. We have talked about BNS, we'll talk about Bharatiya, or rather Vishaka Guidelines also, and how Vishaka Guidelines of 1997 led to the passage of one particular act in 2013. So the transfer, again this article is saying that there are certain issues here. The transfer of redressal processes for sexual harassment. If sexual harassments are happening at workplace, who are looking into it? Employers. Why would they look into it honestly? They have vested interest. They don't want to malign the name of their company. So they are saying that when you are doing this, when you are means transferring the redressal processes to employers, it is actually contradicting the Vishaka judgment, Vishaka guidelines of 1997, as employers have vested interest in not addressing such issue. So more needs to be done. Neutral parties need to be involved. State funding priorities. Article is exposing the issues which we are facing, where we need to focus if you want crime against women to reduce. So they are saying that state is investing in, let's say, CCTV biometrics. How much state is investing in shelter homes, which would be acting as a safe space for many vulnerable women, right? So we need to set our priorities right. That is what this particular article is stating. Now let's talk about Vishaka Guidelines, just like we have talked about Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, BNS. So Vishaka Guidelines refer to a set of procedural guidelines, and these guidelines of Supreme Court led to the passage of Act in 2013, which was known as Sexual Harassment of Women at Workplace Prevention, Prohibition and Redressal Act. And these guidelines were named after Vishaka Group, which was a women's rights organization, a women's rights organization. This whole case was associated with the gang rape of Bhavari Devi, a social worker from Rajasthan, who was targeted for attempting to prevent a child marriage. And that raised the issue of protection, or what do you say, sexual harassment of women at workplace. So, hope you're understanding. Vishaka Guidelines, when was it passed? Like 1997. That led to the passage of Act in 2013. Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita rather replaced IPC of 1860. Then criticism associated with BNS. All these points are very important. And then at the end, I will give you one prelims practice question also. Let's see how many of you can solve that. So the article underscores the deep-rooted systemic failures in addressing sexual violence and gender-based injustices. More needs to be done. If you are implementing Vishaka Guidelines, implement it in entirety, right? Despite legislative efforts like Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, the entrenched culture of sexual impunity persists, revealing a troubling disconnect between legal reforms and their real-world impact on victims. More needs to be done at the ground level, more needs to be done at the legal level, more needs to be done at the societal level, and these things will happen gradually. Now let's try to solve a prelims practice question. So the question is in front of you people, and you can pause me here and you can try to answer this question. If you want to know the answer of this question, you can watch our DNA video for today, that is 22nd August 2024, where apart from this question, there are 4 more prelims practice questions which we have discussed in today's DNA. So answer this question in the comment section and do watch our today's DNA video to know the answer of this particular question. If you like this particular video, do like, share and subscribe to Narayana IAS Academy channel. Take care, be blessed, see you soon.